Oh, no. I got to sign in.
Good evening, everyone. It is November 21st. We're here for a regular meeting of the Laramie City Council. I'm going to call this meeting to order and ask you all if you would like to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all, City Clerk. You can call the roll.
Gabriel.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Richardson. Here. Shumway. Somerville.
Here.
Cumby.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. We're going to move on to public comments on non-agenda items. If any member of the public wishes to speak to the council on any item not on the agenda, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Please.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Sarah Gorin, and I'm here representing Albany County Clean Water Advocates. We just wanted to publicly thank the City Council and the City Planning Commission and city staff for all the work that they've done on updating the Casper Aquifer Protection Plan and following through to implement the updates as you're doing later tonight. As you know, and just for the information of the public, the Casper Aquifer provides a substantial part of the drinking water for the city of Laramie and county residents surrounding, including the South of Laramie Water and Sewer District. And we're lucky beyond measure, really, to have a resource that's relatively pristine, and many communities in this country would give their eye teeth to have something like that. So for ourselves and future generations, what we need to do is keep it that way and enjoy the health and the economic benefits. There's more to be done, but we wanted to, again, publicly thank you, commend the hard work, and for getting this issue moved forward. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Sarah. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak during this comment period? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period and move to the Vice Mayor for a motion to set the agenda. The agenda's thick tonight.
It is. I move that the agenda be set as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The agenda has been set. Council members, we're going to move then to the public hearings, and as I stated, but maybe for the edification of the public, we will read the notice for all of the public hearings at once, and then I'll move through each item individually. City Clerk, go ahead and read the notice.
Notice is hereby given that a public hearing of the Laramie City Council will be held at 6:30 p.m. on November 21st, 2023 in City Council Chambers, Laramie City Hall, 406 Ivinson Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. The meeting shall be held with both online Zoom and in-person option to take public comments on the following. Original ordinance number 2070, an ordinance approving and authorizing the annexation of approximately 63.935 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located southeast of Banner Road, adjacent to the northern municipal boundary into the boundaries of the city of Laramie, Wyoming. The applicant is the city of Laramie. Original ordinance number 2071, an ordinance amending the city of Laramie's official zoning map to zone a newly annexed parcel of land located southeast of Banner Road, adjacent to the northern municipal boundary as O, O District within the city of Laramie. The applicant is the city of Laramie. Original ordinance number 2072, an ordinance approving and authorizing the annexation of approximately 0.97 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located due east of the intersection of Mojave Drive and North 45th Street, into the boundaries of the city of Laramie, Wyoming. The applicant is the city of Laramie. Original ordinance number 2073, an ordinance amending the city of Laramie's official zoning map to zone a newly annexed parcel of land located along North 45th Street adjacent to the eastern municipal boundary to City R1 Single Family Residential District and the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone within the city of Laramie. The applicant is the city of Laramie. Original ordinance number 2074, an ordinance approving and authorizing the annexation of approximately 0.501 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located due east of the intersection of Easterling Drive and Cottonwood Drive, into the boundaries of the city of Laramie, Wyoming. The applicant is the city of Laramie. Original ordinance number 2075, an ordinance amending the city of Laramie's official zoning map to zone a newly annexed parcel of land located along Cottonwood Drive adjacent to the municipal boundary to RR Rural Residential District within the city of Laramie. The applicant is the city of Laramie. All applications, plans, and specifications relative to these matters are available for review at the City of Laramie Planning Office at 405 Grand Avenue, Laramie, Wyoming. Anyone wishing to be heard should be present at the City Council chambers or via Zoom webinar 861-3308-5528, passcode 055966. Written comments may be mailed to City Council, care of City of Laramie Planning Office, P.O. Box C, Laramie, Wyoming 82073. For questions or information, contact City Planning at the address above, by telephone at 307-721-5207 or by email at planning@cityoflaramie.org. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. All right, we'll open up the public hearing for original ordinance number 2070. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to the council, go ahead and come forward. Seeing none, we will close that public hearing. Move on to the public hearing for original ordinance number 2071. Same thing, if you would like to speak to this public hearing, go ahead and come forward. We will close that public hearing. Move then to the public hearing on original ordinance number 2072. Seeing none, I'm going to close that public hearing as well. We'll move on to the public hearing on original ordinance number 2073. Go ahead and come forward if you'd like to speak to that public hearing. Councilors, I'm going to close that public hearing as well. Move then to the public hearing on original ordinance number 2074. If you'd like to speak to that public hearing, please come forward. Going to close that public hearing. I'll open the public hearing on original ordinance number 2075. If any member of the public wishes to speak to the council on that item, please come forward or raise your hand on Zoom. Seeing none, I'm going to close that public hearing as well, and then I will move on. Councilors, that gets us through the public hearings. And City Clerk, I appreciate you letting us get through that quickly. Thank you. We'll move on to announcements. We have a few monthly staff recognitions. I know the city manager is on Zoom, so maybe we'll recognize her to begin with. City Manager Jordan.
Thank you, Council. I assume the audio is satisfactory. Thanks for letting me be here tonight. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our Employee of the Month, or our rock stars, we like to call these folks internally. And the rock star for this month is Mitch Snyder in our street division. Mitch has a really long history with the city of Laramie. He's been with us for 30 years, if you can imagine, and has really been a great coworker in the street division through all of those years. He was nominated by a coworker for this monthly recognition, and his coworkers saying that he's always the first person in the morning and the last to leave, and that he's left a very lasting impact on the community. So we want to recognize Mitch Snyder tonight, with us since 1991, and we appreciate his service to the city of Laramie very, very much.
Thank you, City Manager. Back to you, City Manager, for the recognition of Sabrina Ecker.
Yes, thank you. The reason that we have 2 recognitions this month, Council, is that we did skip Sabrina's recognition last month. I wanted to have a chance to let her get back from some personal leave that she was on. Sabrina works in the Human Resources Division. Prior to that, she worked in the Solid Waste Division of the city. Also just a really fantastic coworker and a good friend to all of our city staff, which is something that we certainly look for in our human resource professionals. She was nominated by folks in her division, saying that she's just a great team player and brings a lot to the city and trying to help build the culture and the strong workplace culture that we strive to have at the city for all of our employees. So we want to recognize her as well this month. Thank you, Sabrina. We appreciate what you do.
Thank you, City Manager. Council members, are there any disclosures this evening?
None that I'm aware of, Mayor.
Great. All right, we're going to move on to approval of the consent agenda. I'm going to recognize the Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Motion by Cumbie, second by Richardson. City Clerk, you can call the roll, please.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville. Somerville.
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. The consent agenda has been approved. We will move on to item 11. Councilor Newman.
I move that the council accepts a grant award from the State of Wyoming Office of Homeland Security in the amount of $205,000 and authorize the mayor, city clerk, and the city attorney to sign the grant award agreement between the Laramie Police Department and the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security.
Second.
Motion by Newman, second by Gabriel. It's close. Assistant Chief Terry. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. Thanks for having us tonight. It's my pleasure to bring this grant forward to you guys tonight for your approval. What you have before you tonight is our routine yearly Wyoming Office of Homeland Security grant that we apply for every year. We use that money to purchase equipment, maybe training, anything that we need that has a nexus to terrorism and criminal activity. What's important about this year is when we asked throughout the department what our needs were in the coming years, I was notified by Officer Kyle Gross, who's not only one of the best SROs within our community, but he's also a member of our bomb squad. And he explained that there's a need for a new bomb robot or robot. A brief history, the Laramie Police Department has had a robot in service, and it's at least 15 years old that I can find out. And it's actually used pretty frequently, and it has multiple uses, not just for bombs, but we can use it for many other things that I would like to have Officer Gross maybe explain in more detail. This year, we were, I guess, kind of surprised when we got the full amount. We needed to replace this bomb robot, and as you can tell, it's super expensive. And we were awarded $205,000, which will purchase this robot, and it'll help replace the old one. So if I may, I'd like to introduce Officer Kyle Gross, who's the brainchild of this grant and has a lot more information on the robot in question.
Thank you, Assistant Chief. welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. What I'd like to explain is just kind of what we do with our bomb robot. So first and foremost, public safety is obviously our biggest concern. And with the current bomb robot that we have, it lacks the capabilities, not only for our own personal applications to be able to get upstairs in houses, get upstairs in the high school and things like that, but we also work with the University of Wyoming. And the current robot that we have, we're not going to be able to get in a majority of the buildings due to its limitations. This upgrade is going to allow us to be able to get in those buildings and get our eyes on suspicious packages before we actually have to send a bomb tech downrange, which is of great safety to us because as it sits right now, I would be more comfortable walking up to a suspicious package or possibly an IED in a bomb suit with my own tools than using the current robot that we have just due to its limited capabilities. One specific example I can also give is a year ago we had a bomb threat downtown involving a pressure cooker inside of a pickup truck. And because of the way the truck was set up, its height and everything that was going on downtown, our current robot wasn't able to get any eyes on it. So I did get in a bomb suit and I went down so that I could see what all we were actually working with. With this robot, it's going to have the capabilities to be able to not only look inside vehicles because of the camera angles that change, but it can actually drive up to the side of a vehicle and look directly into the windows, into windshields, anything like that that we may need. This robot doesn't only benefit the bomb squad, we can also use it with our special response team. It can get in, it will have two-way audio, so we can talk to people that are possibly barricaded or hostages, and they can also speak back to us, and it will also provide video so that we can see what's going on inside. This is a wonderful opportunity that we were given. As Assistant Chief Terry said, we were very surprised to see that we were awarded the full $205,000, and it's going to greatly benefit not just the police department, but the community as a whole to provide that public safety measure.
Thank you, Mr. Gross.
Thank you.
Council members, do you have any questions? Assistant Chief, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I clearly picked the correct person to come
did.
and speak for us tonight on this.
That's great.
Item. So I thank you guys very much for your help.
You bet. Yeah, thank you. All right, no questions, council members? Anyone on Zoom? All right, we will go to the public on this item. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to the council on this item, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand on Zoom. Mr. Montoya, please. Just give us your name. And you'll
Paul
have 3 minutes.
Montoya, 1974 Truman Street, Laramie. Mayor and City Council, one question I would have in regard to this, I don't have a problem with it, but I did notice on the quote that there's a drone as part of this. Maybe you could ask one of the representatives from the police department what the drone is about and how that interfaces into this. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Montoya. If you feel comfortable answering that question, we'd sure invite you up.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Through you, Mayor.
Please.
To Mr. Montoya. To answer his question, essentially last year, we have another project that we're also working on, and that is actually to replace one of our drones with also a more capable drone. However, we didn't want that to conflict with the possibility of receiving this grant, and we didn't want them, at least at Homeland Security, to be posed with trying to say, should we give them $205,000 for a bomb robot, or should we give them the, I can't remember how much it was, $20,000 for a drone. So in actuality, we only submitted to the Homeland Security the grant for the robot at this time. And I think in 2024, the drone will probably be the next thing we'll request for in the next year.
Thank you,
So that
Assistant
answers your
Chief.
question.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to speak to the council? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period. Back to the council before the vote. Okay, City Clerk.
Just one
Oh,
quick,
please, yeah, Councilor Gabriel.
whoever would like to answer this, what happens to the old one? Is that recyclable or what? I was just curious what you do with the old one.
Well, that's an excellent question. Again, Honorable Mayor, through you, Councilor Gabriel. The plan for the old robot would be to donate it to other jurisdictions that may not be as fortunate and don't have that capability, because it is still usable and it still would have some life left in it. I was speaking with Officer Gross, and I guess in his circle of bomb tech networking, there's actually a place that we can register the equipment so that it could be donated. But that would be our plan would be to donate it to a community or a bomb squad or a tech that is not as fortunate as us.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll stand for more questions, so.
Sure, yeah, we got one more coming. Councilor Newman?
Not a question, comment.
Okay, go for it.
Just from me, I would like to let you guys know that I, at least, and I assume council does, appreciate everything that you guys do, especially getting in that bomb suit, because the current robot isn't capable of doing that. So I just wanted to express my appreciation to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Appreciate that. Anyone else, council? Okay, seeing none, City Clerk, you can call the roll on this item.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yeah.
Richardson.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will move on to item 12. Councilor Richardson.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2070 on second reading, annexing approximately 63.718 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, southeast of Banner Road, adjacent to the northern municipal boundary, based on findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second?
Motion by Richardson, second by Gabriel. Mr. Gavatula.
Yes, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. This being second reading on original ordinance number 2070, I don't have too much else to add since we comprehensively covered it 2 weeks ago at the first reading. Just very quickly again, these, if it's okay with you, Honorable Mayor, I will speak to all of these.
One moment, Mr. Gavatula. City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just noticing in the motion, we have a different amount of acreage than we have in the title on the ordinance. So if we could just clarify that really quick, Mayor.
Okay.
Which is the ordinance is correct, then I would assume, of, what would that be, 63.935 acres, that's correct?
Honorable Mayor, let me look at the annexation map, which will have the appropriate acreage.
City Clerk, I'm not sure how you catch those things on the fly, but it's appreciated.
No, I apologize, I didn't catch that sooner.
How dare you?
And at the same time. So,
You noticed it too? Wow.
yeah, I was like,
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Mayor, it appears, well, the annexation map that is correct states that the acreage is 63.687.
so even the motions are okay.
Okay.
63.687?
Yes, and we can revise that
Do a friendly amendment?
to reflect what's on the annexation map. I apologize for that.
And City Clerk, Councilor Richardson could just have that as a friendly amendment?
Mayor, if we could have an amendment to the main motion to just go ahead and reflect that change throughout the ordinance,
Okay.
because the ordinance is also stated as a different acreage, so we want to make sure we get that
Okay.
corrected in the ordinance as well.
Thank you. So Councilor Richardson, you would just have a motion to amend by replacement, the
Okay.
total acreage to be 63.687 when we get there. But you can go ahead and finish your explanation, Mr. Gavatula.
Yes, I apologize for that discrepancy, but yes, I don't really have anything else to add. These are, if I may, as I said before, I won't add too much to any of these items, given that they're city properties. They're adjacent to the city boundary. We're doing this as a matter of housekeeping, really, to bring city property into the municipal boundary. So it's under the jurisdiction of the city and city standards. So that's all I have to add on that.
Thank you. Councilor Richardson, I'm going to go to you for that amendment.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to amend to amend the ordinance by replacing throughout the original ordinance and all other documentation to reflect an acreage of 63.687.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Newman. Council members, any questions about that? Okay, we'll go to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak to the amendment? Okay, seeing none, back to the council. City Clerk, you can call the roll on the amendment.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you. That amendment has been approved. Council, any questions about the main motion as amended? Okay. Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak to this item can come forward in the room or raise your hand on Zoom. Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Council members, any comments? City Clerk, could you please call the roll on the main motion?
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. I am going to go to Vice Mayor Cumby for item 13.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2071 on second reading, establishing the O District for an annexed property approximately 63.718 acres in size, located at southeast of Banner Road, adjacent to the northern municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
And then can I just ask that we
Amend.
amend that, instead of, we don't need to amend this, do we, City Clerk? Can we just have our motion reflect the 63.687?
Yeah, your motion could just reflect the 63687.
Okay.
Mayor, thank you.
Okay.
I was just double checking
You're fine.
the ordinance to see how we have that written in this ordinance, just to verify that, Mayor.
Okay. So I'll ask the Vice Mayor if that is
That is agreeable.
agreeable to you, and the second concurs?
Yes.
Okay, and I think I might have been distracted. We had a motion by Cumby, second by Richardson. City Clerk. Mr. Gavatuller, back to you.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of council, this piece of property we're recommending as the O district, as mentioned as last meeting. This is for larger parcels of land that really don't have the that don't have a designation, so to speak, yet. So we have other land designated as O in the city that would be similar to this. So yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Council members, any questions? Okay, we'll go to the public on this. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to this item, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand on Zoom. Seeing none, we'll close that public comment period. Back to the council for any comments before the vote. Seeing none, City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We'll move on to item 14. Counselor Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to approve original ordinance number 2072 on second reading, annexing approximately .977 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located due east of the intersection of Mojave Drive and North 45th Street, based on findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Gabriel, second by Newman.
Honorable
Please.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, similar to original ordinance 2070, this parcel of land also owned by the city, located off of 45th Street to the east. Same story, city land, want to bring it into the city to make it under city standards, essentially. Nothing else to add.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to go to the public. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to this item, go ahead and come forward in the room or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that public comment period back to the council. Last chance before the vote. Seeing none, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will go to item 15, Vice Mayor Cumby.
Thank you. I move to approve original ordinance number 2073 on second reading, establishing the R1 Single Family District and the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone for an annexed property approximately 0.977 acres in size, located along North 45th Street, adjacent to the eastern municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Richardson. Mr. Gabatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, for the property along 45th Street that we're recommending annexation for, there was some discussion upon at first reading about our recommendation of zoning that R1, which is that general area of town, as well as the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone, which it's encompassed by. We stand by the fact that I think R1 is sufficient there, and I think Councilmember Newman brought up a good point that it is city property. If we ever wish to rezone it to something else like O, then that would always be an option in the future. But at this point, keeping it in consistent with that neighborhood, we feel is the best way to go. Nothing else to add.
Thank you, Mr. Gabatuller. Council members, any questions? I have one quick question. In the second section of the sort of resolution of this ordinance, and it just notes and I guess in the motion itself, it notes the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone in a way that it made me curious if when property is annexed into the city, does it it feels to me like we are then assigning it to the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone, and not that it is inherently already in the Casper Aquifer Protection Overlay Zone. And I was just hoping maybe for a quick clarification because it feels like the first version of that allows for some flexibility, like you could choose to be annexed but not in the zone, and so that's really the heart of my question. I'm wondering if I can get a little explanation there.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor, yes. We're required to zone it because it is an overlay zone, so it does have legal ramifications to have that zoning overlay district. So there's the regulations that go along with it. So therefore, we're required, if we wish to keep it as everything else around it and not have like a hole where the protection area isn't located, we have to do that.
Okay.
It's not inherent.
And would it be, my follow-up question would be, is it, I would not be favorable to this, but what I'm asking is a developer then could apply for annexation without being in the overlay zone if they were in fact on the map within the overlay zone? They could ask us, they could request that the council would annex them and then zone them without, and sort of like we could punch out a piece, is that right?
Honorable Mayor, the way I understand it is that could be requested, but we, of course, during the rezoning application process and the 3 hearings, we would, of course, recommend that it be in the Casper Aquifer Protection. So,
Okay.
So that is an option, but it's in the county. It's zoned agricultural now. So. It's as far as I know, and maybe Mr. Teeny can help me out on this, but the county doesn't have it designated in the Casper Aquifer Protection Zone. That's not an overlay zone in the county.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. Council members, any other questions? Okay. We'll go to the public on this. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak to this item, go ahead and come forward if you're in the room. Seeing none, I'll close the public comment period. Council members, before the vote. Okay, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Pierce.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We'll go on to item 16. Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve original ordinance number 2074 on second reading, annexing approximately 0.501 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located due east of the intersection of Easterling Drive and Cottonwood Drive, based on finding of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Richardson. Mr. Gabatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, this approximately half-acre lot located there in West Laramie on Cottonwood Drive is currently utilized as a pump station for the Public Works Department. Again, city property adjacent to the city boundary, wishing to bring it in so that it will be under city control and city standards in the future. Nothing else to add.
Thank you. Council members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this item, go ahead and come forward in the room. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period. Back to the council. All right, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Pierce.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. We will move on to item 17, Vice Mayor Cumby.
I move to approve original ordinance number 2075 on second reading, establishing the RR Rural Residential District for an annexed property approximately 0.501 acres in size, located along Cottonwood Drive, adjacent to the municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Cumby, second by Newman. Mr. Gabatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, this half-acre approximately piece of property located on Cottonwood Drive in West Laramie is surrounded by rural residential. We feel it's consistent and would be best suited for it to be zoned RR once it's annexed. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions? Seeing none, we will go to the public. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this item can come forward in the room. All right, we will close that public comment period. Back to the council. Okay. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved. Item 18, Councilor Richardson.
Thank you. I move to approve original ordinance number 2077 on first reading, annexing approximately 79.82 acres of property located in unincorporated Albany County, located southeast of the intersection of Cumulus Drive and 30th Street, and adjacent to the northern municipal boundary, based on findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Richardson, second by Newman. Mr. Gavatuller.
Honorable Mayor, members of council, we are switching gears a little bit here. We're not annexing city property anymore, so I just want to make that clear. If I may, Honorable Mayor, we do have Brad Emmons here, who is the applicant for the owner of the West Slope Development Company. If it is okay with you, I can turn it over to you to have Brad come and speak, because we have 4 items tonight. We have the annexation, the comp plan amendment, the rezoning, and then the preliminary plat, all that have to do with the West Slope subdivision. I thought it'd be a nice idea to have him kind of give an overview of the subdivision first, and then I can present the staff reports.
Thank you, Mr. Gavatuller. Mr. Evans, please come forward. Appreciate you being here this evening.
Honorable Mayor, City Council members, Brad Emmons, AVI, agent for the applicant and owner, West Slope Development. Doug Samuelson he was out of town this week, so he does give his apologies for not being able to be here tonight. But before you again is four processes to bring this land into the city and bring new development to northeast Laramie. We did work with the city staff quite a bit prior to submitting any of these documents. I think we had 5 or 6 meetings with city staff prior to submitting, and I think we have got a good plan moving forward. When you look at, probably the most details are in the preliminary plat area. If you look at the preliminary plat, we kind of show there's 2 different phased colors. There's a pink area and then an area to the north of that that's white. The pink area can all be served with the existing sewer lines in Reynolds Avenue, and that's kind of why that's brought out as an area that we can develop now. We wanted to show the future development for what could happen, and that's kind of the white areas to the north, and that those areas would have to be served with a lift station in the future, and that lift station would have to go to a sewer line that I believe is working its way up Asphalt Drive sometime in the future. So do have plans to continue to develop this property after some additional utilities get installed. Again, tried to look at with the zoning and other things. We did try to add some variety in the different zones and lot types that would be available in this area. With that, we also wanted to make sure we kept the neighbors to the south with the same size lots. So the first few lots that are just north of the existing subdivision are the same zoning and the same approximate size as those, but as we get north and east, they do get a little bit smaller. And to add some variety, there is also 1 lot that could be sold or developed for multifamily in the northwest corner. Again, worked with the city to work on the trail system, parks. There is an item we will have to probably have a development or infrastructure agreement about with the traffic study and a light at the corner below the subdivision. But have worked again since the Planning Commission meeting to meet with staff on making sure we got the right language so we can have a good agreement as we move forward. Trying to think if there was... Be happy to answer any questions on any of the 4 at this time, or actually when each one comes up, I'm happy to come back up and speak to any questions that the council has.
Thank you, Mr. Evans, and I appreciate you being here. Yep. Council members, any questions on this item? And just by way of keeping us on the rails here, let's stick to the item before us. Mr. Gavatuller, do you have something to add, please?
I do have a staff report for the annexation.
Please, yeah, please, thank you.
Thank you, Brad. As mentioned, this is two parcels of land. One is owned by the applicant, and the other one would essentially be, under state statute, required to be annexed since it would be fully encompassed by the city. We have heard and had interaction with the property owner there. I can get into that a little bit later. But that is an important piece of this annexation. Infrastructure-wise, quite an improvement to that area, as anybody that's walked along that trail up there sees. It slopes north, right? So all the drainage from that is essentially going, there's a little bit going to the south, but most of it is heading north, which is also is land also owned by the applicant, by West Slope Development Company. So any future expansion is, of course, accounted for in our drainage reports and our drainage plan. But just to mention that it is kind of an interesting, it is an interesting piece of property up there, just the way it lays. The applicant's asking for the future zoning to be R2, R3, and LR, which allows for a variety of housing types. Again, this is something when considering annexation is important, given the goals of City Council and the housing studies that we've conducted and all have been a part of, calling for so many different types of, different typologies of housing, which are very well represented in this application. Upon annexation, the property will, of course, be served by city water and sewer. Estimated improvements at this point to get all infrastructure in does come in at about $6.6 million, which is at full build out. As Brad mentioned, there are phases to this, but all that infrastructure is required to be put in by the developer as the phases continue. So that's water, sewer, streets, curb, gutter, and even the multi-use trail extending that from where it currently is, 30th Street. Other public services. The annexed area is going to benefit from, obviously all city services, fire department, police department, mosquito control, and so forth. The financial impact initially to the city's budget for water and sewer service fees, those are the tap fees that happen at the beginning, that the developer, the actual person pulling the building permit, so the builder is paying these fees, and those are per lot and per size of the service line, but we estimated those to be about $1.5 million. And then annually, we're looking at about $655,000 that'll be generated from those city services that are going to be provided to the annexed area. As mentioned, there is another property involved in this annexation. It's owned by folks that came to the Planning Commission meeting, and they provided a letter of support in your packet for this annexation, as well as the rezoning and the subdivision itself. They are on board. That being said, statutorily, there's really nothing to be done if they weren't on board. Of course, we want to accommodate property owners the best we can, and I think I know that the developer has been working with that family that owns that property, and the letter of support will reflect that. So we do have that. We're happy to have that in the packet. Without further ado, the Laramie Area Growth Plan, the last thing I'll mention, does specifically call out this area as an area that is highly developable, close to services, a great area, close to schools, parks, great for residential. Mixed use is also right there in the Sierra Sky Technology Park. So it has a lot going for it. We support the application. And just another thing to add, this is, of course, first reading, and the public hearing will be at the subsequent meeting, where we'll hear the public hearings on all 4 items. Not all 4 items need 3 readings, so I don't want to confuse anybody, but anyways, we'll be hearing those at the next meeting. But glad to answer any questions on the annexation piece. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you. Council members, any questions on the annexation? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the public. If there's any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on this item, please go ahead and come forward in the room. Raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Seeing none, we will close the public comment period. Back to the council before the vote on annexation first reading. City Clerk, you can call the roll.
Richardson.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item's been approved on first reading. Item 19, Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. Procedurally, I have a question.
Please.
Do you want me to introduce and move to approve and then postpone, or can I do the postponement
I believe
right from the beginning?
we need to bring it on the floor first, and then we can move to postpone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move to approve City Council Resolution Number 2023-86, certifying Planning Commission action regarding the Comprehensive Plan Amendment to amend future land use plan map 302 and the comprehensive plan of the property described in the resolution, southeast corner of 30th Street and Cumulus, for an area approximately 80 acres in size, by changing the future land use designation from SR, suburban residential, to a mix of SR, suburban residential, UR, urban residential, and AUR, auto urban residential, based on finding of fact and conclusion of law.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Gabriel. Mr. Gabatuller, before the postponement, do you have anything to add?
Honorable Mayor, if we're planning to hear this at the next reading, I don't have too much to add.
That's great. Okay, Councilor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to postpone City Council Resolution 2023-86 to December 5th, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Pierce, second by Cumby. Do we need discussion, City Clerk, on a postponement motion? Can I just decide that we don't?
You can decide, Mayor.
Council members, City Clerk, you can call the roll on postponement, please.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been postponed to our December 5th meeting. We will move on to item 20. Councilor Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to approve original ordinance number 2078 on first reading, establishing the limited residential R2 limited multifamily and R3 multifamily zoning districts for an annexed property approximately 79.82 acres in size, located southeast of the intersection of Cumulus Drive and 30th Street, adjacent to the northern municipal boundary, in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second.
Motion by Gabriel, second by Richardson. Mr. Gabatuller?
Honorable Mayor, members of council, for the rezoning here, as mentioned before, we have 2 parcels in question. The applicant has proposed 3 different zoning classifications here. LR, our limited residential, lower density residential area, and then R2 and R3, which are different styles of our multifamily residential zoning districts. Currently, the county has it zoned as rural residential and agriculture, but obviously in light of this application, as well as what we have in our comp plan, future land use map, and our Laramie growth area plan, we strongly support this rezoning to a higher density residential area. So the way that it is laid out lends itself to a gradual transition from lower density residential along Northview Street, where there are already currently larger lots, and then gradually increasing as you move further north to those to that R2 zoning district, which is going to lend itself to more still some single family, but also twin homes. When you go to R2, the amount of units you can put on each lot, it's based on square footage, so there's a lot of flexibility in R2. And then to the west, you'll see a recommendation of R3, which is our most dense residential zoning district, and that is that 6-acre parcel that the applicant owns, but then also to the south, the 5-acre parcel that the Ingalskirgers own. They also requested to have their property zoned R3 in accordance with the subdivision really being along 30th Street, what is in our major street plan as a major arterial there in the future. We like the spread. We recommend approval of this transition where it's, you can really tell that the developer or the owner put a lot of work into matching it up with what's currently there, and thinking about the future there. In conclusion, I think this the zoning reflects a thoughtful approach to land use planning, and we recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Capitola. Council members, any questions? Okay. Seeing none, we will go to the public on this item. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council can come forward in the room. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. Back to the council before the vote. Yeah, Councilor Richardson,
I know
please.
we're still kind of in the middle of this process, but I just want to note that I am so appreciative of the thoughtfulness that's gone into this and into the growth and how we are really thinking about multifamily, and just want to throw that in there real quick, and that's all I've got to say. So thanks.
Councilor, I'll add something quite similar. I think at the edge of a city, you'd often find it gets more and more sort of like lacking in any sort of density. And as we grow, obviously that becomes a bit of a constraint because we only end up with little ranchettes at the edge of town, right? And I think that this plan to increase density the further out from what is now the established part of the city bodes well for the future. I think that gives us a lot of opportunities for growth. And I think this will be a really great neighborhood once it's all built out. All right, anyone else? Okay. We will go then to City Clerk for the roll.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been approved on first reading. We'll go to Councilor Newman for item 21.
I move to approve the West Slope subdivision preliminary plat based on findings of fact and conclusions of law.
Second?
Motion by Newman, second by Gabriel. And because I believe we are headed to a postponement, Counselor Newman, I'm just going to come straight back to you.
I would like to move to postpone the West Slope subdivision preliminary to December 5th, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Newman, second by Gabriel. And City Clerk, as I have deemed that I'm not debatable, I'll go to you for the roll.
Gabriel.
I'm on the rails.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Somerville.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That item has been postponed. Mr. Evans, thank you for taking time to be here. And have a good Thanksgiving. All right. We are moving on to public comments. Any members of the public wishing to speak to the council on any item can go ahead and come forward if you're in the room, or raise your hand if you are on Zoom. Okay, seeing none. Close that public comment period. Move on to any considerations for council, future council work sessions. Forgive me. Yeah, Councilor Richardson.
I feel like we had talked about kind of broadly thinking about our boards and commissions and doing a review of those boards and commissions to determine if they are all still, if they still need council representation on those. And so I'd love to take some time to review those and determine, does it make sense for council to continue to work on those boards and commissions?
Okay, Councilor Newman as well. Okay, anyone else? All right. And then I will just note for you all that there is no council meeting on December 26th. These are still upcoming, but just so you can begin your planning. And we have moved the January 2nd to January 3rd to give you all a chance to have a little more time with family. All right. Councilor Pierce?
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we adjourn.
Motion by Pierce, second by Newman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, council members, we are adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you.